Board sailors, so before you get to reading chapter 2 today, we wanted to introduce you to a few terms and pictures of things that you might not know when you first bump into them in the book.
So the first thing you're going to see is they reference something called cools. And when they do that, they're talking about this specific pack of cigarettes right here. They were really popular during the time period the book was written. And this is what our characters are smoking.
Additionally, they're going to talk about a bottle of Coke. So we just wanted to give context of like old glass Coca-Cola bottles. Like the modern plastic bottles are not what they would have been using at the time. So we wanted everybody to clearly understand that this is a nice hard glass bottle and that could matter.
Also, they're going to talk about a jockey. And a jockey is a person who drives, for lack of a better term, a racehorse. They sit on the back. They're usually a rather small person. And their job is to make sure that, they get the horse to win a race.
All right, next up, there will be something called barrel racing that's going to get described in the book. That's basically when they take a horse at a rodeo and they rapidly have it do these really tight turns around a barrel, like you're seeing in the picture here. There will be a bunch of barrels set up, and they have to do a certain number of laps as fast as they can, and so it's just a big old competition. It's hugely popular in more rural areas where horseback riding is a big deal, like where I'm from.
And then some of our characters work at this place called the DX gas station. And we thought it was important for you guys to know that gas stations were a little bit different then. So what you'll see here is, here's your gas pumps, right? And you have a gas station attendant who would come out, pump gas for you, and do all that right here. And they also had garages. So this is where you would also go if you needed to get your car worked on, oil change, things like that. They took care of this here. So it was kind of like, your modern gas station, but also a mechanic. You would not go here, however, to stop in and get, Gatorade and Takis.
Fun fact, if y'all ended up driving up to Oregon at any point in the next several years, they actually have a state law that still requires attendants to fill up your gas. So there's still places in the United States that even require attendants to fill up gas rather than the people getting out of the car and doing it themselves. Next up, we have the saddle bronc, or kind of bronco riding. This is another sport you would have at rodeos. This is the most popular thing you'll probably see coming out of a rodeo. People get really excited for it, where they are trying to ride a bronco, where you have a cowboy essentially getting kicked and kicked and kicked and kicked at, and the goal is to stay on the horse. He did not succeed. You stay on the horse as long as you can. All of them typically eventually fall off unless they are exceptional. It's more a contest of how long you can maintain it than it is necessarily of staying on most of the time until you get to like really high level bronco riders. But when that's described in the book, you can kind of understand the goal is that the horse is going to be kicking really wildly and wants the person off of its back, and the person is trying to stay on really, really hard.
And then we have something called a dime store. A dime store was kind of like, I don't know, like a dollar store, right? It's got a bunch of different stuff. It's got some little snacks and candies and trinkets and toys. And, it's called a dime store because a lot of stuff there cost only 10 cents, which is a dime. So, the closest thing we have to that is, again, like the dollar store, 99-cent store, something like that.
All right, and last but not least, they're going to refer to a 2x4. So when they say 2x4 in the book, they're just talking about a wooden board that is 4 feet long and about 2 inches thick, as I understand it. That is the 2 and that is the 4. So it's just a big old piece of wood. When it gets used, you'll see why it's being described as such. All right, that's all you need to read chapter 2. Get to work, sailors.